It's about, I say as a coach, my job isn't to teach you. It's actually your training partner who's teaching you. My job is to create a training environment in which you learn. And the coolest thing is when the students, even if you travel like that, very early on, after in the immersion camps that we did, even after a few days, after 5 days, we're doing 8-hour days, but after about 5 days, you take absolute beginners who've never done martial arts in their life, and you give them a knife, or you give them a stick and you give them a knife, and you take a step back, and they're teaching each other. They're helping each other find the weak. Oh, you didn't block here, the knife came from here. Oh, you didn't have a good control of the knife, I was able to switch hands. And you didn't close the reach.
Their awareness goes
and you
way
just
up.
step back, and it's like you've given them the skills. Some instructors, it's scary because then you don't need me anymore. I'm the guy who tells you, you need me because I'll tell you this technique, and after you master these techniques, I'll give you some more techniques. It's now I can leave you, and as long as you have a good training partner. I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Before we finish up. It's of personal interest to me, in Krav Maga is an Israeli system. There are parts of the culture that are ingrained in that. You do karate, there's connection to Japan. Like there's that part. What are the parts of the Filipino culture? I know you're Filipino, you're teaching knife. I know it's an official, as a representative, put you on the spot. What would you say are the impact of the Filipino culture in the martial art culture?
There's a lot of gossip and drama, crab mentality. I joke, but it's to a degree true. If you're talking about the cultural impact of the people into the martial art, so there's a comparison between the Filipino martial arts and Japanese martial arts, for example, where Japanese martial arts or even Chinese martial arts, there's a code of conduct, a dress code, because they have this history of documentation. They're very old arts, and then they were able to codify things like codes of conduct, even standardization of techniques. We're going to call this technique one thing and not the other. In Filipino culture, because of the nature of the layout of the Philippines, something like 7,000 islands, all individualized, partitioned, each with their own different flavor. You might find one Filipino martial arts technique with 5 different names based on the region of the Philippines. So there is a kind of inconsistency and casualness in Filipino martial arts that might turn some people off. Because the authentic Filipino martial arts might be somebody's grandpa, it's hot, he's just wearing shorts and a wife beater, and it's noontime and he's drinking his alcohol or he's smoking a cigarette, and he's saying, no, more, hit more. And so there's a casualness, a nonchalance about it that some people like, some people don't like. But that's the part of Filipino martial arts culture that is embedded into the martial arts, the Filipino martial arts. For better or for worse. I like it.
Over the flexibility, which I think, man, watching your stuff, that's exactly what you represent.
Yeah, and it's funny because for me, I love that you recognize that, because for me, the Filipino martial arts, just like the Filipino culture, the Filipino people, are defined by their hospitality, their ingenuity. Ingenuity meaning we make do with what we have. There's typhoons, volcanoes, earthquakes, floods in the Philippines. A people that's constantly being bombarded by calamity, and they adjust, right? They're adaptable. Their ingenuity is crazy. They'll take a leaf spring from a World War II Jeep and turn it into a sword. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so that adaptability, that ingenuity, the hospitality is part of Filipino martial arts. And the part that kind of bothers me sometimes, because I like to think that I'm, as much as I respect culture, art, history, tradition, I can't ignore Krav Maga, I can't ignore Jiu-Jitsu, I can't ignore boxing. And when I integrate those things into my expression of Filipino martial arts, some people might say, well, that's not authentic, that's not real. And I'm like, no, I think by virtue of Filipinos, we have to adapt, we have to intake, we have to make do with what we have and take everything into consideration. So
we need disruptors. We need also